Thanks for coming to Politics and Life. This is Jordan. I hope all my freedom-loving patriots are having a blessed day. If you wouldn't mind, please like, comment, hit that subscribe button below. Today we are reacting to a brand new, actually it's not brand new, it was released yesterday. Stephen A. Smith is responding to MSDNC, aka MSNBC, saying that he's just a talking head for the MAGA movement. As we know, he is a liberal. Even though when he talks about politics, you know he's conservative by what he says, but he's too scared to come out because we all know who the people that employ him are hard leftists. That is ESPN, the people that actually own his contract. So he can't go full MAGA, even though we know he's MAGA. But today he responds to MSNBC saying that he's a talking head for MAGA movement, even though we're about to prove that wrong. He disavows the Democrat Party as well, and I'm here for it, and I wanted to react to it with you guys live. Let's get started, y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe.
And he essentially called me a mouthpiece for the far-right MAGA movement. He cites the appearances of Candace Owens, Sean Hannity, and other prominent voices from the right on this podcast as reasons for his premise. Here's a portion of what he wrote on MSNBC.com in an article titled, ESPN Stephen A. Smith is a megaphone for MAGA propaganda. Jones says, quote, Stephen A. Smith's embrace of the MAGA movement and its influencers has only continued. In recent days, for example, he has spoken with right-wing commentators Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, and Bill O'Reilly. You might be thinking that these were adversarial chats between a left-leaning centrist and a conservative, but to adroit listeners, they can come across more as conservatives in friendly discussion than anything else.
Also, as we know, when it comes to the left, anytime you go against their agenda or even just one small policy complaint that you have with them, they call you MAGA, they disavow you, they call you a Nazi, they call you a white supremacist. That is the left today, a tolerant left who accepts all opinions and values. Yet, if you don't agree with them 100% of the time in lockstep, they will disavow you and call you an extremist.
Smith's overt politicism seems to fly in the face of ESPN's apparent effort in recent years to deter some of its talent from speaking on controversial political matters. Either way, the network's most recognizable host is now regularly platforming MAGA propaganda at will. End quote. Now, my team reached out to Jones to have a discussion about the article. I wanted to invite him on the show to talk with me one-on-one personally. I hope we get the opportunity to have that dialogue. He was busy. He didn't avoid the call or anything like that. It was no comment or anything like that. He didn't say anything. He was just very, very busy. What we called it the last minute. No shade on him. That's why it didn't happen. But in the meantime, let me express to you what I think about what he wrote. I think that's the exact problem with the left. You see, if I don't agree with you, I must be MAGA. It must be the case. I'm platforming MAGA propaganda. Is that so? I don't view it that way. First of all, even though I lean left, particularly with how I vote with presidential elections, I want to emphasize that I've always been a centrist my entire life. I've never once described myself as a Democrat or a Republican. I'm a centrist. I'm a moderate. I don't trust either side. I'm not on one side or the other, hook, line, or sinker. You will see images or you'll hear me rattle.
Hi, Ruth. I hope you're having a great day. Let's actually talk today if you have time, if you're down for it. Just give me a call.
Off names of people who've been on this show. Yes, you see Ben Shapiro there. Yes, you see Bill O'Reilly there. Yes, I was recently on Megyn Kelly's show. Did you know I'm on News Nation with Chris Cuomo every week?
Hey, if you want to keep working 50, 60 hours a week in a career building wealth for the enemy's plan.
Did you know that I just appeared with Jake Tapper on CNN? Do you know I've been on MSNBC on several occasions? Do you know, yes, Sean Hannity is my friend. It's not because
it's snowing up there. I'm so jealous.
Because of his politics. It's because I've known the man for 23 years and I know him outside of politics. And I appreciate the relationship that we have. I'm not apologizing for that. Let me add another name so you can further excoriate me. Mark Levin, the great one. That's what they call him on Conservative Talk Radio. I know him well, too. I've also had Clay Travis on this show before. I know him as well, at least a little bit, not as well as the other two. Okay, that is absolutely, positively factual. Can I give you a couple other names, Jahan Jones? Would you allow me to? People that have been on this show. Yes, Candace Owens was on this show. Absolutely true. And you brought up the right wingers. You brought up Hannity and Megyn Kelly. And like I said, Ben Shapiro. You even knocked me for, saying that Ben Shapiro's a brilliant dude. Just because you disagree with him don't make him dumb. Dude is smart. He's very smart. But did you bring up Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania? Did you bring up Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland? Did you bring up Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader for the House of Representatives of the United States of America? He was on this show. Did you bring up Areva Martin, legal analyst on the left, was a part of Kamala Harris's campaign? Oh, by the way, on the show on several occasions. Did you bring up Cory Booker, senator for the state of New Jersey, who's also been on this show? How about
Happy April Fools, guys.
Cornel West? Remember when he was on the show? He's been there. It's videos on John Jones. I mean, you're a very busy guy, I assume. You might have missed this. All of these people were on my show. Michael Cohen, who's the biggest critic, the former lawyer for Donald Trump, who excoriates him at every turn. He was on the show. Oh, how many times has Roland Martin been on the show? Let's not forget him.
Thank you, Ruth. I'm trying to be more creative when it comes to editing my thumbnails and videos. I just figured out the green screen, so I put the Trump background in. I thought it looked cool.
I've had folks from both sides. Let me tell you something else. Did you know that Gavin Newsom has been invited here on numerous occasions and still hasn't accepted? Did you know that Kamala Harris was invited on here during the run for the presidency, during the election? She didn't come on.
Of course she didn't.
Did you know Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, he was invited on here, didn't come?
The reason conservatives are so willing to go on this show is because we are winning policy and the culture war. The conservative is taking over. Democrats can't defend policies. They offer no policies that will benefit the country as a whole. So that's why they don't go on talk shows unless they're leftist talk shows. While they won't ask them tough questions or really grill them on policy questions, because the left only runs off emotion and fear mongering. And it doesn't work these days. So that's why they don't go on talk shows like Stephen A. Smith, because he's somewhat of a free thinker. I would still say a liberal, still getting his mind right when it comes to knowing what's going on in the political world.
Oh, by the way, did you know that Andrew Cuomo was on? Came on the show for an hour. Did you know that the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, was on the show for an hour? If they came on the show and they spoke, is it propaganda? Or is it how they feel? See, that's what you're missing in all of this. Do I agree with everything Megyn Kelly says? No. Do I agree with everything Sean Hannity says? No. Do I agree with anything that any of those folks on the right feel? So I don't agree with everything, but they feel that way. And so now we have to get into a discussion as to whether or not they have a right to express their points of views and whether or not you have a salient point to debunk what they're going to throw in our direction before you excoriate them. You work for MSNBC. Let's talk about MSNBC for a second. Did you know that Joy Reid was invited on the show?
Yuck.
I'm not happy that her show is gone.
I am.
Jahan, I am not happy.
Joy Reid was the most racist bigot on television, and the fact that she was able to get a job with the big media corporation shows how left the big media chain has gotten. I mean, it's 90% liberal media. Can you imagine if it was 50-50? Trump would have a 95% approval rating at this point. But Joy Reid was the worst. She was the most racist person on TV. She should never be around a microphone where mass people are watching. Never.
I respect Joy Reid. Did I agree with everything she said? No. Do I agree with how she did some things? No.
We need people to go out and vote in Wisconsin today. If you were from Wisconsin and this viewing this video, go out and vote.
Oh, because if you come across as too vitriolic, as a black person, I know in corporate America, that's going to be counted against you more than it's going to be counted for you. I get that part, but I also knew the dramatic drop in the ratings that they said took place since the election ended. I saw Morning Joe with Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, who I respect, but they bought in to calling Trump and alluding to certain things when it came to Trump. Now, I don't remember whether it's specifically Nazis or other things, but certainly their rhetoric towards him was incendiary. And what happened after he won the election? They were at Mar-a-Lago. And everybody's joking about how Trump is making folks come kiss the ring. You know why? Because guess what? He won. Despite being impeached twice. Despite 34 felony convictions. Despite the potpourri of cases that were thrown against him, he still won. And so what I'm saying to you is that when we're having that kind of discussion, that's what we got to take into consideration. These kind of things happen. And then you're looking at me and you're saying he's platforming them. No.
Thank you, Ruth. Yeah, she's not feeling too good, so she's laying. I didn't know if you saw her, my girlfriend behind me, lay in bed real quick. She says hi, though.
Oh. I am a journalist by trade. I'm going to interview you and give you an opportunity to answer the questions that people want to know and see what they have to say about it. And y'all be the judge. I'll try to ask piercing and poignant questions. And if I don't know something, I don't know something. And if I don't have as much knowledge as you, Jahan, I get that part. But it ain't platforming to listen to what other people have to say. They're going to say it anyway. If I interview Trump tomorrow, I'm going to be accused of platforming Trump. If I ask him about the 34 felony convictions, if I ask him about being impeached twice, or if I avoid that because he's the president despite all of that, and I'm asking them about inflation, what you going to do about that? I'm asking them about the war in Ukraine. Why are you coming across as somebody that's siding against Ukraine and siding with?
Not true. He just wants people to stop dying. This is where I'm saying he starts off strong and fair, and then he says some stupid shit like this. Trump wants people to stop dying. As we know, Russia didn't want Ukraine to go into NATO, and Biden sent Boris Johnson to break up that peace treaty. That was the agreement. So please educate yourself when it comes to the war in Ukraine, because Russia didn't start it. There was already agreements on the table to begin with, and they broke those agreements. So that's just not true.
Putin, if I asked them about illegals or illegal immigrants in this country,
yeah, he's power
and how
hungry,
successful it is or lack thereof. If I see him trying to push a case to the Supreme Court so he should be allowed to deport anybody that he wants to that's here illegally, all you could do is listen to the answer, bro. But Democrats don't get that. And when we talk about me getting on the Democrats, you want to point out some of the things that I said. Okay. Primarily, I have voted Democrat.
Also, let's not pretend that Zelensky was not installed through a coup in Ukraine by our CIA and feds. That is the truth. He wasn't even elected, and he canceled elections this year. So Zelensky is a dictator, in my opinion.
But this is you quoting me in your blog. I have voted Democrat throughout my life, but I'm utterly disgusted with what I'm seeing. Why shouldn't I be? Why aren't you, Jahan? Did you see what the Democrats did leading into the election? Did you see how Kamala Harris went on national television and said she doesn't really see anything differently that she would do compared to what Joe Biden was doing? Did you see Obama deport more illegal immigrants in this country than even Donald Trump did during his tenure as president? But Joe Biden take office and literally open the borders? Did you see crime taking place in the street? Did you see people getting arrested and getting let out of jail the same day? Did you see what's happening in California now, where there's reports that the state of California is running low on money and literally Medicare is jeopardized because of over $1 billion that was spent on illegal immigrants?
Yep.
Did you see their state legislature pass legislation protecting migrants and illegal immigrants from federal enforcement by the Trump administration. We're paying attention. We're seeing what's going on. Everybody's not going to feel what you feel. The thing is, you ask the question and you listen. But in the end, this side won. When I said that they engaged in lawfare, you're damn right I brought it up. Do you know why I brought it up, Jahan? Mr. Jahan Jones, do you know why I brought it up? I brought it up because I'm ticked off that that's what they thought it would take in order to beat Trump. A, because it didn't work, and B, where's your bullpen? Kamala is what you had. I respect our former vice president of the United States. I wish her luck. I hope she runs for the gubernatorial.
She is a terrible candidate, and I hope she doesn't run for California governor. Since I'm in California, she is so dumb. One thing I'll give to Newsom is he's at least good at talking, but his policies suck. Her policies suck, and she's just dumb. So at least we get one decent thing with him, besides all the terrible things he does, like in a 95% ratio. We don't need Kamala. We don't need Newsom. How about we elect a conservative to run our state? Good things would come out of that.
Gubernatorial seat in the state of California. But when she ran for president in 2020, she couldn't even make it to Iowa. And all of a sudden, y'all wanted us to act like she was a rock star because you wanted Biden going so badly after his debilitating performance on the June 27th debate stage.
Yep.
Tim Walz, you picked him when everybody practically in the party thought, well, not everybody, but a lot of people thought that Josh Shapiro would have been a prime candidate. They said this guy's a star.
Yes, Ruth, the sheriff. I hope he gets in. I hope
and
he
he's
wins.
running up in the state of Pennsylvania well. And he isn't married to certain leftist policies, extreme leftist progressive policies, the way Tim Walz would have been. He would have been a better candidate for Kamala Harris to ultimately win this race. These are the kind of things that were being said. These are the kind of things that was going on. And what I'm saying is, pick the best candidate.
I'm not sure what
Pick
his
the
name
best
is.
chance for you to win. How do you believe that Tim Walz is going to give you a better chance to win than Josh Shapiro? Why wasn't Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, more prolific voice out there on the scene? I'd vote for him in a heartbeat. But us pointing out these things that are wrong with the Democratic Party makes me bad, makes me a megaphone for the MAGA left or the MAGA right. I happen to believe certain things. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with trying to address inflation. I don't have a problem with saying we can't have over 12 million illegal immigrants crossing the borders and we do nothing about that. I don't have a problem with people saying folks who commit crimes but need to have their behinds in jail. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with sitting there and discussing or at least debating the viability of eradicating all student loans. I had to pay mine.
True.
Most American citizens had to pay theirs. If we want to have a debate about...
And the left is, especially since Trump's been, he's like, oh, he's against the courts. He doesn't follow what the court said. Neither did they when it came to the Supreme Court saying you can't cancel student loans. The left wanted to cancel the Supreme Court and overload the courts. But when it comes to Trump trying to deport people and saying we don't agree with the court's decision, the left is all in full panic. They are such hypocrites on the left. Everything they cry about, they are literally doing. Hey, Sharon, I hope you're having a great day.
Where the money should be spent and stuff like that, I get that. There's certain things that shouldn't be debatable. You shouldn't be allowed to roam free in this country illegally. You shouldn't be allowed to commit crimes in the street and avoid arrest. You shouldn't be allowed out of jail the same day you were put in jail for engaging in illegal activity. Period. There are certain things that are just basic and are just general. You don't have to go into the weeds. I know the MAGA right ain't right all the damn time. I don't trust what comes out of Donald Trump's mouth.
Yeah, he just literally cited everything Trump's doing and says he pretty much agrees with what's happening because he knows he's owned and the puppet masters will get mad if he says he's for MAGA, even though from what he's saying, it sounds like he is a conservative straight up. But he's too scared to openly say it because he knows that the left will shut him down and cancel him.
I get that part. But when we want to sit up there and look at the latest controversy that they're involved in terms of national security information, in terms of attacking the Houthis, with Mr. Hegseth himself, who to me falls under a DEI category, by the way, and we want to talk about this man being fired. Well, y'all talking about people being fired when Biden pulled troops out of Afghanistan?
Yeah, under Biden, there was literally American soldiers that got killed because of his weak leadership. With Trump, no one died, and it seemed like what was exposed showed that the operation went successful. If anything, Mike Waltz should get a scold. Trump should scold him maybe once, but I don't think it's really that much of a difference because the left, they're crying about Signalgate nonstop for the past 2 weeks, yet they said nothing about the pullout of Afghanistan or all the other crazy stuff that happens. School board meetings, parents labeled as domestic terrorists or illegals, killing Americans, raping, torturing, and they didn't say anything. But the Signalgate, they've absolutely lost their minds over, which shows clear hypocrisy.
When at least 13 lives
Alpha,
were lost,
yes.
when billions in equipment were left in Afghanistan, the sloppy manner in which we parted ways, where you're talking about.
Also, good point, Ruth. They didn't even report SpaceX rescue should have been a worldwide moment where everyone saw and congratulated Elon Musk for helping these astronauts that Biden's administration left behind. Yet the Democrats said nothing about that, right? Because they're frauds on the left.
The same thing then, because this ain't worse than that. It could have been, but is it? What was it? People are allowed to have their opinions. At the end of the day, you got the right leaning on the left, pointing out the left's hypocrisy and double talking more effectively than the left is able to do to the right. Trump's not admitting he's wrong. Trump's not going to come out there and admit, I did this wrong, I did that wrong.
What did he do wrong?
He's not going to do it. He's likely going to lie out of his teeth every chance he has an opportunity to do so.
Yeah, they can never actually, these people that say Trump lies out of his teeth, they can never actually give examples of what he exactly lied about. And I'm still waiting because I hear this all day, every day, and they can never give examples of what he lied about.
So, I'm going to tell you the truth. He's loaded the Supreme Court. It's a 6-3 majority. We're going to ignore the role that Ruth Bader Ginsburg played in that when she refused to retire while Obama was in office and they wanted her to depart. We're going to deny the fact that she refused to do so because she wanted.
It's like a Ponzi scheme, and our taxes were funding the propaganda through USAID, which is insane if you think about it. Our own taxpayer dollars is funding our own country's propaganda. Insane.
A woman to insert her successor, assuming Hillary Rodham Clinton would win the election, willing to take that risk and letting her ego get in the way. We're just going to ignore that. God rest her soul, but it's the truth. We're going to ignore that. We're going to ignore all the stuff that we've learned since the election about how they knew how debilitated Joe Biden was.
That's true.
We're just going to continue to ignore these things, huh? Not going to have any discussion. They're on the right, so there's no reason to listen to them. I'm not that dude. On this platform, it's very, very important that I say to y'all this. On this platform, it's very, very important we understand this. I'm going to talk to everybody that I can. I have a statement, and by the way, in the same blog, Jahan Jones alluded to me saying something about the Tea Party that was formed once Obama was in office, and I gave some weak lame excuse. I don't know what you're talking about. What I do know is that I think people have a right to feel differently. We have a Republican and a Democratic Party in the United States of America, along with an independent party. There are people who feel differently. That's just the way that it goes.
Whoops. Can you guys still see me? Sorry, my computer died. Oh, sorry about that. Let me fix this real quick. Fuck. Come on! Fucking fuck. Can you guys see me? Oh, fucking great. Can you guys see me still? Sorry about that. My computer died. I had to run over and grab the charger. I'm still at the same spot. Sorry about that. Let me make sure it's all connected. My bad.
And as long as I can ask them what I want to ask them, their answers are their answers. It's for you to absorb and to take. On this platform, I'll interview anybody that's resonating with the masses about significant, pertinent issues. I will do that. Left, right, in the middle. It does not matter to me. I'm always going to be that way. That's not providing a megaphone for one side. You're going to go on recent interviews. You know why the recent interviews took place? Because most of the people I was interviewing was on the left. You didn't write about it then. And when you see people using sound from me to milk what they can from it, to publicize it and create headlines from it, that's just because the right is doing it more effectively than the left, because I'm on leftist platforms all the time.
The reason we're so much better at it is because we're actually speaking truth. We're actually coming at the issues and not just lying and fear-mongering like the left does all day, every day. People see through the BS. They've had an awakening. Once you're awake, you can't go back woke unless you're just, I don't know how you could possibly do that, but the left has just been, they've exposed their cards. They say the same talk points every election. They offer nothing new to benefit the American people. Instead, they want to waste more of your taxes on BS.
Did an interview with Karen Hunter. I've been on a Breakfast Club. I just told you about Jake Tapper. I told you I've been on MSNBC shows. I'm on News Nation all the time. Laura Coates and Abby Phillip. I've been on both of their shows several times. Let's not forget that.
Oh, Abby Phillips is
Let's not forget that, Jahan Jones. Just because you don't publicize it doesn't mean that I didn't say anything that the left would agree with. You just don't do a good job. You know why? And I'm talking about you specifically, Jahan Jones. I'm talking about the left overall. You know why? Because the right takes what they can get to disseminate and publicize their message. The left wants to handpick who they want to be messengers. Instead of listening to the public say to them, excuse me, this is how we feel. This is where we coming from. This is what we stand on. That's who we support. I've told you many times, the right picked Trump. The constituency out there, the voters, they said we want Trump. Not DeSantis, not Christie, not Ramaswamy, not Nikki Haley. No. We want him. The Democratic Party is always intervening and getting in the way of what.
Yeah, like Bernie Sanders, they always put in the people that they know they could control the most. Unless it's Clinton, she runs the whole show, in my opinion. But yeah, the left, they don't campaign really. They set their campaigns up. They fly people in through buses, planes, etc. Everything about the left is staged by their puppet masters, just like these protests, these Elon protests, all staged by George Soros, big donor money.
What the voters want. That's why y'all lost. And if you don't learn, you're going to continue to do this. And my last point is this. I'm sick and tired of people bringing up Stephen A. for ESPN. This is the Stephen A. Smith show. It has nothing to do with ESPN. This is 100% owned and operated by me. As my man Shannon Sharp likes to say about his club, Shay Shay, I am the sole proprietor. This is my shop. This has nothing to do with ESPN. This is mine.
Oh, yeah, they paid those Elon.
I've always talked about politics, and I've always crossed political and sports talk. Number two. Number three, when ESPN arrived and they gave that mandate more than 7 years ago now about minimizing the political talk, they were talking about primarily over their airwaves. Not just their talent. I've been talking about politics for ages. I've been giving social commentary. I shouldn't even say politics because I always give social commentary. And I always will. As long as I'm breathing and I'm in this business. It comes with it. It's not changing. This is not a right-wing platform. This is not a left-wing platform. This is Stephen A. Smith's platform. And I'll discuss what I want to discuss with whomever I damn well please. By the way, Representative Clyburn is going to be on soon. Representative Eric Swalwell will be on soon.
Oh, gosh.
Ro Khanna out of California. I've had the pleasure of meeting him, and I appeared on Real Time with Bill Maher. He's going to be on the show. Oh, by the way, Bill Maher has been on the show. Not once, but twice. He'll be back on the show. Kamala Harris has been offered to be on the show since the election. She's declined. I'm still trying to get Gavin Newsom. He's declined. I'm not finished. Nancy Pelosi, want to get her on one day. She's welcome to come on. Folks on the left have got to stop blaming other people for your own self-inflicted wounds. The fact of the matter is, most of y'all, people don't want to hear from. Jasmine Crockett's welcome on the show. AOC Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's definitely welcomed on this show. Bernie Sanders, he's welcome on the show. Nobody's hiding. I have never been a fan of listening to Elizabeth Warren. I respect her as a senator for the United States. I expect her work, etc. I got one problem with Senator Elizabeth Warren and one problem only. No other problem other than this. Every time I listen to her speak, she makes me feel like if you don't agree to her, you're destined for hell. You have no soul. You have to agree with every syllable that she's...
Elizabeth Warren never says anything smart. She always says the same thing while she herself is a fraudster and worth millions with I think it's $125,000 a year salary. Yeah, there's nothing smart about that woman.
Otherwise, you're going to hell. Lightning's going to strike you down. She can't. There can be no alternative to anything that she says. It has to be her or something is wrong with your soul. That's her. I mean, the one I watch when I see her talking. That's the only reason that I've never desired to interview her. Because I don't want to feel like I'm going to hell just because I don't. That's it. Nothing else. So, Jahan Jones, hopefully you'll be on the show soon. But I respectfully yet strongly disagree with your assertion about me. Patrick Bet-David has been on this show. Relatively conservative guy, PBD podcast.
Love him.
I happen to agree with a lot of things he says. I happen to agree with some things Sean Hannity says. Just like I agree with some things Jake Tapper says. Just like I agree with some things Karen Hunter says. Just like I agree with Chris Cuomo and some things he says. That's how I roll. I go on a case-by-case basis. I'm not an ideologue. I don't trust that. And I don't think
yes, Tucker's the man.
That's where I stand.
Love Tucker.
I definitely agree with some things Andrew Cuomo says. And as long as Andrew Cuomo or Eric Adams is the mayor of New York City moving forward, I'm going to feel good about New York City. And I'll tell anybody who listens, I don't give a damn. And to show you, Jahan Jones, how much of a centrist I am. Do you know, in all likelihood, if I'm in Florida and I'm voting for the next governor of Florida, I would vote for Byron Donald, who's a right wing guy.
I like Byron Donald.
Whose support of Trump I certainly am not fond of, but I'm fond of him.
I really don't understand why he's not fond of Trump, yet he voted for Kamala Harris, who was much, much worse than Trump. It just doesn't make any sense when he just dogs just on Trump. Yet he agrees with all conservative principles, which Trump is the one that put in place. I feel like it's so weak of as a man to say all this, sound good, and then talk down to Trump.
But nobody would be tops on my list for the presidency of the United States more than Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland. He's the one. I've never campaigned for anybody in my life. He's the one person I would consider campaigning for.
Who is
I think
Wes
he's
Moore?
the real deal.
Wes Moore.
I think that if you're the left, that's somebody you should rally behind. Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, in my opinion, should be the next president of the United States.
He's a Democrat. No.
Not me. Him.
No.
I believe in that, brother. I truly, truly do. And I think the more people get to know him, the more they'll believe in him too. And I'm telling you right here over these national airways, if you are on the left or you are a moderate, a centrist, I understand the right's going to do what they're going to do. My God, this is a man you should get to know. You should rally behind
No, thank
him.
you. No, thank you.
That man right there. I wouldn't hesitate. See how I think? Some of it might make sense to you, some of it might not.
Guys, that's the end of that one. In a little bit, I'm going to do a live of the leftists. There's a lot of YouTubers that watched over the weekend that did videos of these these anti-Elon Musk, whatever you call them, get-togethers, protests, and I'm going to react to them. The left has gone insane off the deep end, off the rocker, and I cannot wait to react to that with you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. Love you guys. Have a great day. Peace.